Cold versus Bret Hart match. The submission match. It's funny how Bret Hart was in both of the WrestleManias. My favorite rivalries or storylines leading up to the WrestleMania match. WrestleMania 13. That Bret Hart versus Stone Cold match, that was the only match I was interested in seeing for WrestleMania 13. Man, they dragged that rivalry out like a whole year, basically. Maybe even longer than that. Because Bret Hart and Stone Cold, they had the Survivor Series match before that, which was a great match. A solid wrestling classic. Even go check that out. Bret Hart versus Stone Cold at Survivor Series 96. But it started out with Bret Hart not even being on television. After he lost that Iron Man match to Shawn Michaels, he took a little break. But Stone Cold Steve Austin was on a come up. And while he was on a come up, he was calling out Bret Hart while Bret Hart was at home just kicking back, trying to, get a break from wrestling. Okay. So he started playing these little antics, calling Bret Hart out every chance he get, saying that he was the best there ever was, the best there ever will be, ripping his lines off. And Stone Cold, he sold it. I'm like, oh, wow, this dude really want Bret Hart. Well, Bret Hart accepted the challenge. Bret Hart accepted. He came back for the match. After taking a hiatus, he comes back, and him and Stone Cold Steve Austin have a classic match at Survivor Series 96. After that, the drama was lit. Stone Cold, every chance he get, he will harass Bret Hart. He will come after him, attack him, interrupt his matches, to the point Bret Hart started doing it back to him. And then it became a personal rivalry because it started getting out of hand. Like Steve Austin would not let up off of Bret Hart. And then Bret Hart was he was basically getting cheated out of his title wins because of Steve Austin. He was just upset and fed up. He like, look, I got to get this dude out of the way. But Steve Austin, he made people believe that Bret Hart was a crybaby. So he flipped it on him. He made Bret Hart look like the crybaby. Because, Bret was whining about a lot of stuff, but rightfully so. He kept getting cheated out of the title win because of Steve Austin. He was just fed up. So check this. After everything went down, they announced the submission match between Steve Austin and Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13. And I couldn't wait to see that. I didn't know it was going to be as good as it was, though. And I didn't know it would be a double turn like that. I just wanted to see them two get it on. Because they kept brawling. It kept getting broken up. Bret is going off the rails. Steve Austin is going off the rails. And they just wanted each other. And the submission match was perfect because one of them had to say, I quit. But that whole lead up, like I said, that whole storyline, they dragged that out for like a whole year. But it was great stuff. And in between that storyline, they had different storylines mixed in there, like Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart. They had their little rivalry still going. But then Bret Hart had the rivalry with Austin. But in between that, they had Undertaker involved in there because he wanted to get back at Bret Hart and get his title back. And then Psycho Sid was put in inside the rivalry. It was great the way they did it, the way they put it all together. And shout out to Vince Russo. Because I think that's when he really started taking over for the writing for WWF at that time. But if I could say, was the match greater than the build-up? I say it was even. It was even to me. But aside from that match, WrestleMania 14, that Kane versus Undertaker match. Oh man, and shout out to Paul Bear too, because he the one who sold it. That whole story between Undertaker and Kane, the two brothers, how Undertaker burnt the funeral home down. He burnt his brother up. His brother was coming back for revenge. Then you look at a guy that's standing taller than him, bigger than the Undertaker, and it's his brother. Oh man, and that Kane entrance, the music, the pyros, the ring attire, he was very believable. Shout out to Glenn Jacobs. He was very believable. And that storyline was very believable. I still got to go back and watch it because I love the way that Paul Bear sold it. He was great on the mic. And he sold it to the point that we knew it was a wrestling show, but we also thought it was real and it was able to suspend our disbelief. That's the power of being a great promo. When you can make people buy into it, you did your job. Everybody don't got that gift. They can't do that. So, that match leading up to it, you had Kane destruction. He was destroying everything. Running through the whole roster, basically. He wanted Undertaker. Paul Bear said, listen, Undertaker, if you don't step up and fight your brother, we running through everybody and it's all gonna be because of you. So the blood will be on the Undertaker's hands. Undertaker said, I will never fight my brother. He kept on disrespecting Undertaker. He was slapping him around. He was trying to get him to fight back. Undertaker would not fight back. He would not budge. One time he almost did. He put his hand up. He blocked Kane from hitting him. But he didn't do anything. He just turned around and walked off. And I wanted to see that. I'm like, oh, these two. I'm like, Undertaker done met his match. This Kane dude is really horrifying and he could do some damage. I want to see how the Undertaker will handle him in the ring one-on-one straight up. But then I'm thinking, I'm like, but that's the Undertaker though. You think he gonna let the little brother show him up? I'm like, I believe this match could be like the biggest thing ever. I want to see what's gonna happen. But I was getting frustrated because I'm like, why Undertaker won't fight back? He won't fight him back. I'm like, oh. But then also, I was on that side where I wouldn't have minded seeing them together. Like as a team. And that's what started happening. It started to look like they was becoming close. They started helping each other out. Dudes wanted to get revenge on Kane for running through him. You know, Undertaker wouldn't let that happen. You know, the DX rivalry was input. So he was going through a rivalry with Shawn Michaels too at this time. But also going through a rivalry with Kane. I love how WWF used to do that. They used to mix rivalries together, but it still made sense because everybody had a problem with each of the other person. But it went like in a full circle. Okay, so I'm like, are these two about to become teammates? Paul Bear wasn't nowhere around now. Paul Bear done disappeared. I'm like, hold up, what's going on? I'm like, are they about to make these two like a tag team? Not just yet. Undertaker had a casket match versus Shawn Michaels, right? And at the end of the match, dudes came out, other wrestlers came out and tried to put Undertaker in a casket. And guess who comes out and save him? It's his brother Kane. Everybody's excited. They start fighting dudes off and getting rid of wrestlers, throwing them out the ring. Next thing you know, Kane knocks Undertaker down, stomping him, just beating him down. Throws him in a casket. Shawn Michaels wins the casket match, locks it shut. And Kane and Paul, next thing you know, Paul Bearer comes from the back. We haven't seen him in like a week or two. And he just comes out of nowhere with locks. And they're locking the casket. And I'm like, what are they about to do? They roll the casket up to the top of the ramp, right? Starts breaking inside the casket with an axe. Kane is doing this now. Kane is breaking inside the casket with an axe to put a little hole in it to pour the gasoline in. And next thing you know, Paul Bearer lights a match, hands it to Kane. Boom. He lights the casket on fire. We think that's the end of The Undertaker, but deep down, we know that's not really the end of him. So we like, okay, so where's this rivalry about to come? Because after that, Undertaker wasn't on TV for like a couple of weeks. But then he started slowly making his presence back. Flickering lights. And then, he just messing with Kane and Paul Bearer. And while he's bothering them, like I said, flickering lights, they're doing interviews. Kane and Paul Bearer is doing interviews backstage. And you got some paranormal stuff happening with like lockers and chairs is moving. It was hinting that The Undertaker was coming back. Now, we're like a couple of weeks or a month close to WrestleMania 14. So, we get there. We don't get to WrestleMania yet, but we get to the following week. And Undertaker finally reappears and come back. And when he comes back, that promo he cut, oh man, go back and watch that. Now it was on. He was fed up. He like, oh, Kane, you tried to get rid of me. You tried to burn me inside that casket. Well, I'm back. And now I'm ready. Now we about to go one-on-one. And from the weeks from there, it was like a week or two before WrestleMania, Undertaker said, now I'm willing to fight you. Now we could go head up. You tried to really get rid of me? Oh, now it's on. Now everybody's excited because they just announced the match for Undertaker versus Kane at WrestleMania 14. And man, that was very anticipating. Even more than the previous WrestleMania matches that I done talked about. But they don't do that anymore. It would never, I don't think it would ever be done like that ever again. Because first of all, you had Vince Russo writing back then. And the writers nowadays, they not writing like that. Plus, at that time, it was a whole different company. It was a whole different time. It was a whole different era. That era will not be duplicated ever again, in my opinion. I don't see it happening. I will hope for it too, but I know deep down, like, the world is going in a different direction. Everything is getting more and more watered down. But since it's WrestleMania season, I thought I will just bring that up. And bring these rivalries up that had me locked in. And I was very, very on the edge of my seat waiting for these matches from the storyline build up and the rivalries. Now, fast forward and look at the rivalries and storylines today in anticipation to see the WrestleMania matchups. There is none. So, with that being said, WrestleMania is not a spectacle like it was before. But you could go back and watch it and relive those moments. Because what we're watching now, today, it don't even come close. It will put what wrestling has going on today, the wrestling from back then will put that to shame. Even the Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels match with Mike Tyson as the enforcer. I wanted to see that too, but I wanted to see the Kane versus Undertaker match more. And another thing, a lot of these guys can't talk on a mic. None of them can talk on a mic nowadays. A good promo and somebody great on a mic could help sell a match and get a rivalry at its top point. But like I said, nowadays it's like so far gone. My expectations are very low for this WrestleMania. It's only one match that I genuinely want to see, but I'm not really that excited for. I just want to see how it will go down. And we all know who's in it, Brock Lesnar. So everybody who's sitting back and they're wanting to see WrestleMania and they're excited for these matches, go back and watch some real WrestleMania matches. Even a Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon ladder match. Now, back then, I was too young to really grasp it and understand it. But as I got older, like I said, like 96, late 95, when I really started watching, I had to go back and watch that. I didn't watch the storyline build up to the match, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty decent. But man, that match delivered. So if we could just, at least they still give us the library to where we could go back and watch it when it was good. At least they give us that, right? But now, this is what y'all stuck with, because I don't really watch this no more like that. I gotta go back to the old stuff when it was actually entertaining. But now you watch this wrestling product nowadays and how expensive it is, and way more expensive than it used to be. Yeah, you will know WrestleMania has its downfall right here, right now. It hasn't been good in a while, like I said in my other video. But now, sit back and watch. But actually go back and watch the old stuff too. But like I said, that's it. This was another episode of the Prolific Hangout with yours truly, MV Pro. I'm out. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Y'all stay tuned and we'll get back to it. All right? Peace.